forward. All right. All right. Well, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to ApprenticeSIP. My name is Luther Jackson. I'm a co-leader of this group, and I'm a workforce innovation consultant in San Jose. And our other leaders are Anita Gay from BAVAC, who's in the meeting, Orion Willis from San Francisco Office of Economic Workforce Development, and Annie Totten, who is not able to make it with us today. So ApprenticeSIP is our meetup community promoting apprenticeships as a remedy for almost anything that ails the economy. Today's focus, the Joint Workforce Investment Transit Apprenticeships of Santa Clara County, is really a shining example of the value of apprenticeships to workers and their union, to the transit agencies and their passengers, and to a region focused on reducing greenhouse gas emissions. JWA is also a remarkable story about the power of partnerships. And we have today from the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, Amalgamated Transit Workers, Local 265, Mission College, and California Transit Works here in a consulting role. And finally, and you'll hear from the presentations, this has been an amazing model that's really spread like wildfire all over the US and Canada. But remember, when you hear it started here, so this is yet another Silicon Valley innovation that's kind of taken flight around the world. So let's do some quick introductions. I'll call on you, and if we could, just name, a title, and an organization would be great. So Jeff, I'll start with you, please.
Sure. Jeff Palin, Dean of Workforce Innovation at Mission College in Santa Clara.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob Gamble, Senior Workforce Strategist for California Transit Works.
Thank you. Raj.
Raj Singh, ATU Local 265 President.
Thank you. Harpreet.
Harpreet Singh, a coach operator, currently assigned to JWI day-to-day for the Union 265.
Great. Thank you. Steve.
Hello, everyone. Steve Jovel, Operations Manager of Workforce Development at VTIA.
Welcome. Dioselin, did I get that right?
Yes, Dioselin. Hi, everyone. My name is Dioselin Ayala Moreno. I'm with Sunline Transit Agency, and I'm their management analyst here for the executive team. Nice to meet everyone.
So nice to see you.
Really nice to meet you.
Pam.
Pam Gutman, Regional Director for Advanced Transportation for the Bay Area Community Colleges.
Thank you for making it. Let's see, where am I? Dave Worthington.
Good afternoon, everybody. David Worthington. I'm the fleet manager with the County of Santa Clara.
And G.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jermaine Gibson, Director of Apprenticeship and Workforce Development for the Amalgamated Transit Union International, former mentee from the JWI program.
Great, great to see you. Orion.
Orion Willis, TechSF Manager, City and County of San Francisco. Welcome back, Annalise. Hey there.
Anita.
Anita Gay, Workforce and Operations Manager, BAVAC Media in San Francisco.
Brett.
Afternoon, Brett Burning, Manager of Apprenticeships at San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency.
Great. Anthony.
Good afternoon, Vice Chancellor, or Anthony Cordova, Vice Chancellor, Workforce Economic Development at the California Community College Chancellor's Office.
Well, welcome. Great to see you. Erwin.
Thank you.
Hi, I am semi-retired from the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, where we started an apprenticeship program 20 years ago, and I've kept up.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us. Purvi.
Erwin.
Purvi Rami, I'm a program manager about registered apprenticeships for the Semi Foundation.
Welcome. Temple.
No title, just attending and listening, that's all.
Good to see you again. Annalise.
Hi, everyone. Great to see you. I'm Annalise, and I'm at Brookings now, and I helped co-found this group with a bunch of you all, so it's exciting to be back.
Good to see you. Don.
Good afternoon, Don Rougeau, the Senior Advisor to the Chancellor, Statewide Chancellor for the Community Colleges on Workforce Development and Strategic Partnerships.
Great to have you, Patrick.
Yep, Patrick Cushing, I'm the CEO of WorkHands. We build apprenticeship software.
Caitlin?
Caitlin with the City and County of San Francisco. I'm an Apprenticeship SF HR analyst.
Great. And Peter?
Peter Simon. I'm both with High Road Alliance, but also part of the team at California Transit Works. So I'm just here to hear my colleagues make this great presentation.
Okay. So ground rules are any questions you have, just use the raised hand function, and Anita, Orion, or I will recognize you. And we're going to start with just a brief overview about the JWI program, and then some statements from our team just about the value of this groundbreaking apprenticeship for their organizations. And then we'll get into a discussion. So I think we have Steve and Raj. We're going to kick it off. So if you could start, please, that'd be great.
Sure. So I'll go first. So our JWI program initially started with one man's vision on basically, addressing the areas of the challenges of a coach operator that training didn't address. The conversation originally started in 2005 and 6. And then officially the program kicked off in 2008 with our first bus coach operator apprenticeship in 2008. And again, the goal and the vision, I guess you can call him the founding father, Tom Fink, was again just addressing areas that training didn't go over. Most people, if you talk to talk about what it is to be a coach operator, everybody, kind of has a general vision in their head that, it's just turning left and right and just picking up passengers. But once, when you go through the training and actually start performing the job duties, that's when they realize that there's a whole another side to being a professional coach operator. And, Tom, with all the challenges that he faced in his career, he saw that there has to be something done about this because, there was a problem that the companies were having with retaining operators. And, he saw his fellow coach operators, struggling with all the different, challenging conditions that the job presents. So with his vision and, he finally got some buy-in from the union side and the company. And when the labor management committee finally formed, they agreed and they started this program, and the apprenticeship officially kicked off. But since then, the program has grown. Originally, we had just one apprenticeship, which was the bus operator apprenticeship. But since then, we've moved and gotten other apprenticeships put in play as well. An example of a couple of those are our service mechanic apprenticeship. Right now, we're running a track worker apprenticeship. We have an overhead line worker apprenticeship. And our newest position is the light rail operator apprenticeship. These apprenticeships have been very successful. They've given purpose to the employees. They've opened pathways to basically in some of our positions where there wasn't any a career path for individuals. These apprenticeships have helped those individuals grow and further their careers within the company. I'm gonna pass it over to Steve.
Thanks, Raj. And Raj covered, the idea of being brought by Tom Fink, who was an ATU officer. And from there, the partnership was created, and the foundation of really where our partnership is successful is not only through the apprenticeship programs, but our peer mentoring program for operator. That was a core of the start of the program, and it's carried on as the foundation of the partnership, along with also having a neutral third from the very beginning. We had Deb Moy with Balance.point, who also was the co-founder of California Transit Works. So Balance.point has been instrumental in maintaining, from 2006 through 2024, we've faced a lot of different challenges, and having a neutral third that assists with maintaining the partnership and difficult conversations and difficult decisions that have to be made by the partnership. They've been instrumental alongside with a consortium like CTW, and Mission's another partner in this. This great relationship that we have with Mission, which allows each of our apprenticeships to be accredited, with college credits from 18 to 24, depending on the program. Each of our programs are 18 to 24 months in length. So it's really brought a lot of positivity around not only the apprenticeship and the mentoring piece, but I think in a lot of ways it's given this partnership a different way to work out some of the issues that we have in public transportation. It's really improved the relationship. There's always going to be the classic bargaining agency and union, but this is all done outside of everything else. So it gives us a unique forum to resolve a lot of the issues that come up. With that, Luther.
Yeah, Steve, if you could just talk about the value of this partnership to your organization, to the transit agency, and to your constituents, including passengers.
Yeah, so to start, we're a public transportation agency. What we found is, Raj mentioned the retention piece. We were really low in going into 2006 as far as retaining new coach operators. We raised our retention levels from the mid to high 70% to about 94% retention within the first several years. And in developing providing the resources that we provide to our operators through the mentoring program and through the apprenticeship, we provide a higher level of service to the public. One of our 4 pillars is public service, and recognizing that we do provide this service to our constituents in Santa Clara County. For the agency, it's provided a forum for the agency to hear the challenges that the front line is going through, and the different challenges that that they have on the daily course of doing their jobs, and it allows us to better provide those resources to allow them to be successful, not only through the training that they receive, but once they move into these classifications, to be successful through their probationary period, and to provide those career pathways to advance their careers. Right now, having 5 apprenticeship programs, it allows the front line to move into VTA from the start entry level positions like coach operator. And we have a lot of success stories where people have navigated from being a coach operator over to the maintenance side into service mechanic apprenticeship programs. And currently, we have a good example right now. One of our mentor leads, she started off as a coach operator, moved into the service mechanic, and later became a transit mechanic, and now recently was promoted to our ONR overhaul and repair department as a transit mechanic, rebuilding transmissions, rebuilding engines. And that shows that progression, from coach operator in the agency all the way through our, one of our highest levels in maintenance. So the other piece is really the partnership piece with ATU. Like I said earlier, it really allows us to build better relationships in the area within this partnership, which is critical to having these opportunities for our employees. The collaboration with Mission College, CTW, Balance.point, these are all critical relationships that are in place that are critical towards the success of this partnership and for the agency. But really having the ability to provide career pathways, ability to promote our own from our own, and being able to, as coming out of the pandemic, and having the worker shortage that we have in these highly skilled positions, it gives us another way to recruit for these highly skilled positions. And right now we're filling track and overhead line, which we haven't been able to fill from the outside through apprenticeship. So, as we grow, and we're looking to grow additional apprenticeship programs in other, hard to recruit positions. So from the agency perspective, these are all the advantages, and that this partnership with ATU, Mission College, and CTW's brought.
Thank you, Steve. That's great. Raj or Harpreet, could you talk about the value of this from the perspective of the union itself, Local 265, and the union members?
I'll go first, Harpreet. So the answer to this question is a lot of it is going to be what Steve touched on, because the value is on both sides, right? The stuff that he mentioned is beneficial to the union as well. As far as if you talk about the apprenticeships, given a path and some of the opportunity to further their career, it gives the employee a sense of a pride and a bit of a ownership with the company. They look forward to coming to work, and they take pride in their work, and it just gives a better product that eventually gets delivered to the public. And with the bus operator apprenticeship, I think the biggest thing to highlight there is just the support system that our mentors are to the new hires. The training department is one of the best. They do a great job of training someone how to move a 40-foot vehicle from A to B. But there are a whole different aspect and factors to the job that they don't address, right? As we all know, the public is very unpredictable. So your first year or two where you think you've seen it all in the first couple of weeks or months, the public will surprise you almost every day. And that's where our mentors come in, and they become almost like a lifeline to the new hires, and they share their experience on how to deal with a lot of the different situations that aren't necessarily addressed in training. Harpreet, you want to add on something?
Yeah, I think mentorship program is great. Mentors really veteran mentors helping new operators successfully navigate the careers and path and options that they show within the company is huge. Also a healthy way of doing the job is critical. And in my career of 15 years here, I've seen people put on weight within first 6 to 9 months. There's now better options of eating. There's no restrooms at the end of the lines and stuff like that. So, with the mentors helping new hires or new members with how to navigate day to day, how to get better sleep, how to prepare meal preps, importance of drinking and enough water and staying hydrated on the job. Some of these also play aspect in the safety and the safely operating the coach on day to day. And the mentors go above and beyond in some of the cases, helping the new members.
And if I can add on just a little bit, Luther, or to what Steve alluded to about the relationship between labor and management. Historically, it's a bit confrontational, but through this labor management initiative, there's times when discussions start up in some of these meetings, and those discussions further add on and support some of our conversations outside if we're negotiating something or trying to get a policy change and whatnot, and our JWI program has kind of helped some of those discussions and facilitated a lot of those conversations as well.
Thank you. That's a great overview. Jeff, could you talk about?
Luther, I just want to add.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Luther, I just wanted to add real quick. I mentioned the 4 pillars, and I just wanted to, just touch on, the 4 pillars that were established. Well, the 3 that were established in the beginning, and one was later adopted by the leadership. Workplace solutions, career development, and public service. Those are the 3 pillars that were the foundation of the partnership. Recognizing, of course, the public service and and the service that we provide, the career development. And the workplace solutions is maintained as a really important piece. Having the important conversations around issues and finding solutions for those problems. And then, like I said, later adopted, we've brought in health and well-being for multiple reasons. But through the pandemic, especially through the pandemic and the different challenges that we face here at VTA over the last several years, it really became evident that not only the eating healthier and finding a way to remain healthy in a work-life balance, but also the mental health aspect to our employees became a priority, working together and, through the partnership. So.
Thank you. Jeff, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks. So from the college perspective, the first thing I want to say is that all of the apprenticeship programs that we are currently running with Valley Transit Authority, that's the coach bus operator, service mechanic, overhead line, light rail operator, and track mechanic. They are all registered with the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, and they are 4-credit certificate programs in the college. And one of the most important parts of that to recognize is that the State Chancellor's Office, Community College State Chancellor's Office, and we have 2 representatives here from the State Chancellor's Office, the State Chancellor's Office in the legislature help fund these programs. These programs are free to the apprentices, and in the process of tracking the programs themselves, the state helps fund the college, which in turn helps reimburse VTA for the hours that the mentors and the instructors use in the classroom. So it's important to understand that the college is very strongly supported by the state, and that's an important part of a registered apprenticeship program. But that other unique part of this apprenticeship program is it's a college credit program. And when I go to the new employee orientation at VTA, where I am welcoming these new coach bus operators, they are all college students. We enroll them on the spot. And just in National Apprenticeship Week in November, on Women in Apprenticeship Day, we graduated 100 apprentices from the 2021 cohort. And all those apprentices received a college certificate. And let me tell you, when I asked the apprentices at their first day, did you know when you applied for a position at Valley Transit Authority that you'd be a community college student? I get the look of, you're kidding. Wow. And we enroll them and they go through the program. Another thing I want to mention is that we are in the process of registering a leadership in public transit apprenticeship program with VTA. And we are also in the process right now of we just applied for a planning grant with the state for a pre-apprenticeship in transportation. And the design and purpose of this pre-apprenticeship program is to help improve the retention and completion of apprentices in the apprenticeship program. Some of the partners that are involved are the workforce development boards, the South Bay Consortium for Adult Education, Metro Ed, working partnerships, so that we have built a nice collective impact, if you will, to move forward with the pre-apprenticeship program to support everything that VTA is doing. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks so much. And Rob Gamble.
I'm Rob Gamble. Among other things, I was the Jeff Palin before Jeff took over and is running things very successfully now. 100 graduates in the last year. But I was part of the apprenticeship program when it first started, or it first came over to Mission College. And Mission College was sort of the third partner in that partnership, the labor management partnership that is JWI. And that is the core piece of this. And maybe the best way I can explain that is the original apprenticeship program that we had was funded through the Chancellor's Office. Thanks, guys, through a CHI grant. was started in a hallway when representatives, and it was a third-party neutral, a woman named Deb Moy, who perhaps at some point you might want to do a whole session on the value of third-party neutrals and get Deb at VTA and their goals for developing a more professional workforce. And I listened to him for about 10 minutes and I made a fateful comment. I go, gosh, it sounds like you already have an apprenticeship. You might as well just go for it. Based on a weird idea that I knew there were like 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 registered apprenticeships in the country. And the easy part was is you just go down, you kind of adopt their standards to your needs and you move forward. And I just naturally assumed that as ubiquitous as public transit is, someone would have done this somewhere. And I was wrong. So we got the opportunity, and that's really kind of a crucial point to this, is the partners, the college, Mission College, VTA, and ATU got the chance to build that standard from the ground up. And they built the standard for both Department of Apprenticeship Standards in California and DOL nationwide. So each one of those apprenticeships they're talking about, there is a standard that has been developed at both the national and state level. The other really cool part about the whole JWI model is it's a working partnership. So if you go into an organization and try to establish an apprenticeship from the ground up, you have to develop that partnership. And all the places that are utilizing it, and G could probably, Jermaine, you see on the screen, can talk about, I think, literally hundreds now of public transit agencies around the country that are developing this worker management partnership. The first step is already taken. One of the comments I always make about the value of working with organized labor is they're organized. And through the JWI model, this organization is moving across the state. What California Transit Works does, and it grew out of that partnership. I retired from Mission College about 1.5 years ago, and it was like the instructor at Hogwarts who was the ghost, and he passed on one day and just showed up to class the next day as a ghost. And I retired one day from Mission College and showed up the next day at CTW, working on expanding what that core project at VTA got started and moving it around the state, and working with a partner of mine, Peter Simon, on the call. It's now in full effect with Golden Gate Transit using College of Marin, and a really unique partnership between College of Marin and Santa Rosa Community College for a pre-apprenticeship program that's up and running. In the last round of CHI grants through CTW and partnerships established with ATU International and Jermaine, we got programs started at San Joaquin Transit with Delta College and at Riverside Transit with Riverside Community College. The core of all of these gets down to one, that labor management partnership and the real utilization of worker voice and developing training programs that really matter and really kind of meet the goals of both labor and management. And the other part of it is, and I think that the folks at VTA have done this so long, they forget how cool this is. But the mentors are assigned to new employees, new apprenticeships, the day they start. When Jeff's in that meeting with the new apprentices and new employees, the people who are hosting that meeting are the mentors. It's Harpreet and his team that will be there introducing it. And the very coolest thing about that mentorship model that's in there, it's not only part of training, it's part of your worker life, as long as you're at VTA. And that has a real value in public transit, because public transit does something that I think other industries really ought to look at. They are vertically integrated top to bottom. You can start out as a coach operator and end up CEO. One of our favorite CEOs started out as an electrician. So it's kind of the cool part about it. CTW is working with colleges, transit agencies, and unions across the state, and now moving into Oregon. So thank you. And that was my timer telling me to shut up.
Thanks, Rob. Well, great presentations, everyone. So let's get some questions going and some conversation. Any initial questions? Yeah, Pam, and then Jermaine.
Luther, I didn't have my hand up, but I do have a couple of questions about how they actually got started and structured it. How do they decide who they needed to work with on the partnership side? How long did it take? And what do they do about recruiting various applicants to the apprenticeship program?
Okay, I'll go ahead and take an initial attempt at that. So when the idea was the idea was brought by Tom Fink, who was ATU political director, I believe, at the time.
Or assistant business agent at the time.
Assistant business, okay. So assistant business agent at the time. Ironically, I was on the ATU executive board at the time, and the discussion started with on the ATU side, and the idea was brought to VTA. I think one of the piece that was really instrumental in all of this was Tom Fink knew Deb Moy with Balance.point, who had worked with hospitality and some other industries in creating labor management partnerships, and that was really key, I think, to just start the conversation between the union and the agency to really kick that off, at least to get that initial buy-in. And as things continued, I think having a champion or two on each side was critical to continue the conversations. I think, it was not directly your question to this, but I always tell people the union and the agency in the partnership are going to have a lot of leadership changes. So it's critical to, at all times, have, one or two champions on each side so that it continues, because we've weathered, president changes on the ATU side, leadership changes, new general manager, CEOs, new COs on our side, on the VTA side. So that's all critical. I think the second part to your question was, how do we recruit for the apprenticeships? Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And
Raj,
for the mentors as well.
And for the mentor, Raj, you want to touch on the apprenticeship piece?
So all of our new hires that are coming into our bus operator classification, they're automatically enrolled into the apprenticeship from day one. And then as far as the mentors, it's a joint joint vetting process for the mentors. We'll have we'll put out applications to the employees, and they will apply. And after that, we'll vet the applications on the union side, and then the company will do the same thing. And then after that, whoever will come to an agreement on who to approve as a mentor.
Do the mentors get extra pay for taking this on?
No, they do not. No, they don't get extra pay. And just to elaborate a little bit on, Raj, I think, the applicants are vetted through both sides. I think one of the, again, through the partnership, there's always discussion when we always come up to consensus, through discussion. We may have someone who, maybe has a couple marks in a certain area. We'll have discussions and, through the partnership to come to a consensus on each of the situations. So again, the partnership, at work and, working collaboratively.
Is there a review process? Annually, biannually?
There is actually. We're coming up on that right now. No, Raj, you want to speak on that, or you want to?
I think Harpreet is probably better suited to answer that.
Every March, we reach out to every single mentor and evaluate where if their situation is still if they're still able to participate in the program, depending on whatever life situations have changed, and we give them a recommitment form that they sign for the following year, and it pretty much asks them the duties as a mentor, them going out to doing the ride-alongs, their availability to attend classes and mentor meetings and other duties that falls on them.
Right, and then from the mentees, they also ask for a feedback and review on if how the mentor was.
Great, thank you.
Great. G, did you have your hand up?
Oh yeah, I just was going to add that the JWI program is the program that keeps on giving. Like they said earlier, we have now created, I want to say 97 and 98 programs across North America, including US and Canada, all based off this labor management partnership. And I think that's been the keys. That's been the piece to the apprenticeship that has been so successful. You know, in transit, as everyone has spoke on, we have a lot of first, right? First coach operator apprenticeship program in the country, VTA, and fast forward, you know, till just earlier this year, the first light rail operator apprenticeship program in the country. So there's a lot that this program keeps giving. It is the foundation of, like I said, of all our other programs. Just to give you like a sense of how big the labor management mentor program is and how it affects transit. Based on the JWI model, we put together a bus mentor program in Greater Cleveland a little over a year ago. We always keep metrics, and their metrics after having a mentor program after 1 year, 36% increase in retention, 30% decrease in absenteeism, 50% reduction in missouts. This is where people aren't showing up at work on time. And I think, again, the metrics speak for itself that when you bring labor and management together and elevate that worker voice, this is how we turn around our labor issues in public transit.
Thanks, Steve. Great. Annalise.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And I think this is a really excellent approach. And I've been thinking a lot about, I have two interrelated questions. One is that the governor in California, not to mention national leaders at DOL, have been emphasizing scaling apprenticeship. And it sounds like you all have started to figure out, how do I take something in one college with one arrangement and like make it relevant for other areas? So my big question to you there is, what support from the state or the federal government would help expedite that and reduce any duplicative work that you may need to do from college to college or what, you know, place to place? And what types of supports would be most helpful? It sounds like a lot of grant funded stuff is happening through CAI, but, you know, once the funding runs out, are there ongoing issues with scaling this? And then my related question is, what is your biggest challenge in this? Like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're experiencing?
Jeff, do you want to take the resource piece for the college piece, or?
Sorry about that. I turned off my mic, but I'm back on. Anyway, thanks for the question. It's a great one. And I can assure you that I do break out in a cold sweat when I think about the state having to stop funding the development, implementation, and running of an apprenticeship program the way they're doing right now, because it is a very important way in which we at Mission College are able to do this work with joint workforce investment. That's not to say that we wouldn't be able to find other funding opportunities if we needed to. You know, the old thing, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. And if we needed to, we would try and certainly be able to find other funding support. But the CHI grant and the related supplemental instruction funding really helps this. It really helps the college fund this entire effort that we have in support of the VTA Joint Workforce Investment ATU partnership. Without that, you know, it might not be quite so easy to do. There are other ways in which to fund apprenticeship, and I've talked with people in other states. Jobs for the Future has had me on a couple of panels. NextFlex has had me on a couple of panels, and those other states are really jealous when I talk about our CHI grant funding and our related supplemental instruction funding. So when you ask this question, Annalise, all I can say is, no, don't take it away. But if they did, we would certainly have to find other ways. And of course, the state does fund the college anyway in terms of enrollment. And since these are college credit programs, we would be able to find ways to fund them. Maybe not as plentifully as we do right now.
Thanks, Jeff. I've got Rob and then Peter.
I was going to follow up on where you were going at. The CHI grants have been really important, especially in starting the programs. In California, you have RSI and other funding mechanisms that are really good. One of the other things that we've done is each one of the programs leads to a CTE certificate, and that has a funding benefit in the state of California as well. So those are important metrics. The other part about it, on the scaling of it, is the transit industry in general is in a real transition of its workforce. We initially did this thinking we were going to do 200, and I think it's well over 500 now. So the original CHI grant was for 200 folks, and I think that Mission and BTA are now well over 500. I think they're at 450 CTE certificates, and that has an economic value to it. So there's good support there. Where I think if G were to talk about it is on the grander scale, on the startup scale, there's not really, other than an ATU and some HRTP funding, because this is the original down to it, dyed in the wool HRTP program, high road training program. There's not a lot of ways to support the expansion of it to places that, aren't lucky enough to have CHI grants. And anyway, Peter probably has more to say because I know he works on grants all the time.
Thanks, Rob. Peter. Peter, you're on mute.
There. Okay, now I'm off mute. Sorry. I just want to say I encountered JWI and CTW in 2017 when I was on the TA team for the original high road training partnerships. And I just want to say the point I want to make is about labor management partnerships. People have already said a lot about funding and stuff, which is important. But when I walked into the first meeting of JWI, and I've been in a lot of labor management conversations, it struck me. I just need to highlight that something really different was happening here. I went, oh my goodness gracious, they're really cooperating. They're really getting along. They're really talking openly with each other because they have the Vegas rule where you can say whatever you need to say. And it's really evident. I mean, it kind of whacked me in the face. I landed up now working with them since I stopped being on the TA team until the present time. I just want to say, in terms of the challenge, your question, Annalise, the tricky part, because we have really struggled with creating toolkits about how to build these kind of programs. And we have done some, and a lot of our technical assistance is to help other people get going. But I just want to say, for all the checklists you can produce, there's no substitute for starting out with establishing a strong labor management partnership. Because if you don't have that, it's a real uphill slog. I'll just say that's really key. And that's really the strength of these programs. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Peter. Don, you had a question in the chat. Could you just speak it, please?
Yeah, sure. There's a new funding stream, the Apprenticeship Innovation Fund, that was rolled out last year. Well, 2 years ago now, I guess a year and a month or so ago. That's really focused on the scaling, the sustaining and scaling of these kinds of programs. So I'm curious what, this issue around colleges that don't have access to CHI grants, is this something that folks have considered as a possible funding source?
Luther, I just want to, we did apply for the AIF grant earlier last year to assist towards it, and we plan on going into round 2 coming up. So yeah, I know we have taken advantage with our partnership on the funding.
That's great. And if I could just say a bit more, that Sonia Christian, who's our new chancellor, is really doubling down on trying to elevate regional-based projects that could be scaled across the state, what she's calling her demonstration projects. And obviously that ties in very closely with the governor's objective for 500,000 apprenticeships. So if this is something that that you all think could be presented in a way to the leadership team and the workforce economic development leadership team at the chancellor's office, this could be rolled into that project. If it's something that could be launched across multiple colleges in the first year. If not, it could be something that could be rolled into 2025 and beyond. But she's certainly looking for the kinds of projects that could be turnkey going into this current year.
That's great news. Thanks, Don.
Sure.
G and then Brett.
Yeah, to Don's comments, I think one of the important pieces is, again, we talked about the labor management piece, and Roger and Steve may notice more. I think we have 12 or 14 ATU locals in California. Is it 12, Raj?
Got 13.
All right, 13. We have 13 ATU locals in California, and our international president has made it his mission, and it is in our constitution now, about rolling out apprenticeship programs, again, across the entire ATU. But what makes that piece so big in this effort is we're all on the same page. We know the importance of working together with the agency around apprenticeship programs. How do we get the programs up and going? We may approach it from different angles, but that's big for us because we do have all of Northern California now, Rob, and we are expanding into Southern California. That does include LA Metro, where we represent mechanics. I see our Sunline partner on the call as we speak. Long Beach, Riverside, Fresno, Omnitrans, you name it. And that's all because we're able to call those ATU locals and say, hey, we want to do a partnership at your transit agency. Let's start the conversation. How can we work to get these things up and going? So really coming from a union standpoint, and we're now starting to use the funding as well. I think we just got a H-1B grant, Rob, that's going to help with our expansion of apprenticeship programs on the maintenance side as we move to zero emission. And that's not only in California, but we're also included Oregon in that grant. So we're really pushing to make sure that these programs continue moving into the future.
Thanks, G. And we talked about kind of career upward mobility. Could you just give us a second about kind of how you started with this locally and what your position is now?
Yeah, I mentioned it a second ago. I came in as a mentee in 2011. I had a lot of things going on in my personal life that did not align with me being a professional coach operator. And who even knew of the term professional coach operator? I just assumed you drove the bus and that was it. Well, when you really talk about being an operator and a professional, driving the bus is the smallest piece, right? It's the work-life balance, it's the customer service. And the biggest piece that my mentor did was help me to understand that keeping focused, because I'm carrying the world's most precious cargo, and not allowing my personal life to affect me, right? Anybody that's ever been a driver will tell you that no matter what's going on in your life, in your personal life, when you get in that driver's seat, is magnified by 1,000, whether good or bad. And so with the help of my mentor, I moved up from being a mentee, becoming a mentor, eventually co-directing the program with Steve. And now I run our workforce development department at the ATU International. It's our first time having this in 2020. And so I'm charged with creating apprenticeship programs, mentorship programs, labor management partnerships. And our current goal, or his goal, is to have 2,758 programs in the next 5 years. We're currently sitting at 97. So I got a lot of work to do. And again, when we talk about opportunities in transit, Not bad for somebody who has 2 college units, right? So these are the career opportunities. These are the experiences that you can learn coming through transit, especially when you have a mentor and you have a labor management partnership that believes in the value of giving someone the opportunity to do things that they never thought they could. So
Thank you. It's a great story. Brett, and then Annalise had some questions in the chat. Go ahead, Brett.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, great discussion. And I'm the new acting manager of apprenticeships here at SFMTA. And part of my job now is we're starting our 10th cohort of our pre-apprenticeship automotive mechanic and machinist, partnering with City College of San Francisco and our CBO partner, Jewish Vocational Service, who just earned a $500,000 grant to support this pre-apprenticeship also. So I guess I wanted to touch on the value of, relying on the workforce agencies like JVS or other community-based organizations that support the supportive services aspect in these pre-apprenticeship roles. And then the second question is really about the future plans for future apprenticeships that align to the state's goal of transitioning to 100% zero emission bus fleets by 2040. So looking at electric bus manufacturing apprenticeships, having that, I know there are some things in the work already, but what's that look like on the horizon for folks?
Thanks, Brett.
Well, I'll speak to the second part of your question, Brett. We're currently looking at, with that transition towards the zero mission buses, we're currently not only looking to really remodel what we have, our service mechanic apprenticeship, really transitioning that more from, the diesel mechanic to the electric bus model, but also creating a ladder from service mechanic to transit mechanic, which includes, the whole zero emission 2040 mandate. So that's our, that's really where our focus is right now on the bus side is, that transition, and how do we not only train, our new service mechanics and transit mechanics, but really retrain our current maintenance staffing that we have in place. I don't know, Raj, if there's anything you want to.
I'm just going to say we're just we're having those discussions right now, but our biggest challenge internally is just getting the infrastructure in place in order to do provide the training for all our employees. So the initial discussions are taking place. It's just a matter of getting the infrastructure and everything, all the resources that we're going to need in place.
Thanks, Raj. Annalise?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up a little bit. That's why I put it in the chat. But so you all talked about the funding piece of scaling, but I was curious about, are people developing new curricula from scratch each time? I mean, that takes a lot of effort. Or is there a template that's being used? What could the state or federal government do to expedite that process, or give people templates? And then another is about the registration. Could that be a recommendation to DAS to, if we've already approved the same thing, how do we expedite this so it's not going to take 6 months and repeat the wheel a lot? Instead, you can just sort of copy and paste.
Lots of questions.
Well, I can chip in a little bit on that. So there's some structure in there already, and it sounds like you know about it. When you have a registration, so as Golden Gate was the next person up with the apprenticeship in California, they could take a look at what VTA had done and mold that to meet their needs. It still takes time at DAS and helping DAS move through those processes faster. But that flexibility is kind of important because the operation that Golden Gate runs is a lot different than the operation that VTA runs. But also the college came on with courses, and the model that CTW and the partners all sort of support is that one where you get college credit and apprenticeship. And when the College Marin came on, they were able to use stuff from the state inventory that Mission had put in there and modify that to their need. But then you also run back into again, and it's an issue for career technical education across the board is just the amount of time it takes, even when it's already there. And so that would be an area that I think that there's some policy movement could be, really helpful on, is taking stuff. And I mean, it's just in the nature of the beast right now that it takes almost a year, even if it's just a modification of a course, to get it through.
Thanks, Rob. So time is winding down. So Erwin, quick question, and then Jeff, and then we'll have Anita wrap us up. Erwin, please.
Thanks. Sure. Yeah. When we started the apprenticeship program at Metropolitan, we had shortages of journey level electrical people and mechanical people. And that's why we started that program. How much of these programs are not to replace critical skills that can't be hired readily, so we trained our own, or simply to be a pipeline to train people that have to fill jobs and you have a big supply of those people?
That's one of the big criteria for, in some of the apprenticeships that we've created, like our overhead line and our track programs is, our coach operator, people get hired on as coach operators, so they go through the apprenticeship. But overhead line and for track, that's truly how we're filling those positions. Overhead, especially, they're hard to fill from the outside. Very specialized in the transit, overhead line person. It's hard to compete with, the PG&Es and other industries and things like that. On top of all that, we were challenged with our overhead line department took a severe hit with our incident that we had back in May 26th of 2021. So, it was already a hard to fill position, and we lost, a few of our employees and brothers in that. So, it's really how we've had to move towards filling those positions. And we're looking at other areas currently to expand apprenticeship, and that's solely out of need because we're not recruiting in those positions.
Thanks,
Great
Steve.
point.
Thanks, Steve. Jeff, last word.
Yeah, just one word to expand on what Annalisa wrote in the chat and what Rob answered. The state legislature and the state chancellor require that faculty have control over curriculum. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing, because that assures that the faculty that the curriculum is done correctly and it's done properly, and that student learning outcomes are assured, student success is assured. But that does slow down the process. And so just a general comment, when we look to develop any kind of a new program, a new curriculum, sure, we can take, for example, for this pre-apprenticeship program that we're looking at, we're actually looking at the curriculum that Santa Rosa Junior College has in conjunction with Golden Gate. We're looking at that, but for us to run it here at the college, we have to go through the process of curriculum review, which then gets approved by the academic senate, moves to the president's office, and then to the board of trustees, then to the state, and then comes back cataloged. We already have the curriculum. That's great. That helps a little bit in terms of the process, but we still have about a year to actually get that curriculum cataloged and to get the non-credit, in this case, non-credit pre-apprenticeship program cataloged and official. So it just takes a little bit of time. We're going to try and fast track this one because we have a target of the fall of this year. So we're looking to do that. And I see Don has his hand up now. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome. Sorry to hold everyone on, but this is a critical question. This non-credit to credit pathway. So is that something that is it an option for learners and workers coming into this program? That's fantastic.
The pre-apprenticeship, definitely. So the pre-apprenticeship will be non-credit. The apprenticeship, as you know, is for credit. So absolutely, it is non-credit to credit. That is the pathway. And I do know that the state chancellor's office is very interested in seeing more of those.
Absolutely. And then the other piece that I would throw out there is any kind of credit for prior learning. So if you have veterans or you have other folks who are coming in from different, occupational areas. How do we assess those experience and that skill set, and then get them onto that credit pathway through assessing those skills? So thank you for letting me take that extra time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the question. So I'd just like to thank our panelists. This has been absolutely fantastic. And I hope what we've done today will spur on that growth to more and more transit apprenticeships. Let's see, Anita, why don't you wrap us up, please?
Sure. I'm already starting to put things in the chat, but thank you everyone for your amazing thoughts. And this is a super interesting session, and it's been recorded. I'll be sending it out to everyone in the next few days. And as I said in the chat, our next session is going to be the fourth Wednesday of February, the 28th. We're still deciding on a topic. So if there's somebody that you would think would be a great host, or a topic that you'd like to hear more about, there's a super brief, like 1 minute long form that I put a link to. You can fill that out. Also, if you don't think I have your email address, that can go in there. And then finally, I would like to suggest that you all join our meetup group, our official meetup group here. And you will get all the info on the upcoming sessions.
Thanks, Anita. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you at a future meeting. Take care.
Thank you.
Everyone have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
All right, have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.